Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele, and I will be your nerd today and every day that you watch my silly little show. I'm going to go ahead and I don't want to say apologize, but warn you ahead of time. You're probably going to hear a little buzzing sound in the background. Those are my fans moving air around my office. If you can't tell by the intense mercury-like glow coming in from my window, this is after I put the shades up. It is still coming through and around, glowing like the hot Venusian sun, which is the same as our sun. I don't know why I said that. So it's hot. I'm a sweaty mess. It is hot as nobody's business right now. I know that the whole climate change, weather, we're having that whole thing. Well, it gets worse for old Casa de la Steel. Our air conditioner is, as of about 2 days ago, not working. It is really fighting to try and keep up with the heat. We've got a service guy coming out to take a look at it. It is what it is, but they're obviously swamped, so they're going to they're not going to be able to get out here until Saturday to take a look at it. And then who knows when they'll actually be able to fix or replace it. But either way, if you wonder why today I am just a sweaty, gross mess, why the lights are off, why there's that buzzing from the fan, and why I probably will not stay on this very long, is because it is a sauna in my studio right now. It's very unpleasant. I mean, it's pleasant because I'm surrounded by all kinds of amazing things, and I get to actually talk to you guys after 2 weeks. But it is unpleasant in the fact that everything is sticky. I live in the Midwest, which means when it gets hot, it is always humid. Today is one of those days. So I just wanted to go ahead and apologize ahead of time if I'm abrupt, or if while you're watching this, you're like, man, he really looks gross. It's because I am gross. I'm nasty. I'm tacky. Like, I showered, 3 hours ago? My hair is still wet because it just won't dry. It's rough. It's rough. It's a rough day here in Casa de la Steel. First off, thank you, by the way, for your patience. I know I took last week off to catch up on some work, which was much needed, and successful. I finished the G.I. Joe adventure I was working on. Got that turned into Hasbro to have them take a look at it to make sure that I didn't screw up any canon. Of course not. The Shadowrun book is all all engines forward, full steam ahead. That's pretty much the only thing I'm working on right now, barring putting together a couple of other minor pitches for Hasbro to greenlight before I get into things, which we'll talk about that in a second. But let's see, for the last 2 weeks in Bryan have been pretty solid. Not just work stuff. I actually got to play some games. I got a couple of new Xbox games that were work related, but kind of weirdly so. I was flipping through, waiting for something to download, like an update to download or whatever. Playing a lot of Sea of Thieves, of course. But while I was waiting for something to upload or download into my Xbox, I saw an ad for a Space Wolf, Warhammer 40,000, a Space Wolf video game. And I was like, what? That sounds cool. And it has turned out that it was a little cheap game where it's like almost like kill team based, where you are a handful of Space Wolves fighting against Chaos Marines. The commercial said that there were also Necrons, but I haven't seen any yet. But it was, it's got kind of a weird game engine where you have like a set number of cards, and each card is like a weapon, or you can use it to move, or it's definitely an interesting game engine that they've built. I don't know why it was built with 40K in mind. It may not have been. It may have been 40K got skinned onto it later. Who knows? I may have to pause and get another drink, by the way. I don't know if that coffee's going to last my whole episode. But it's fun. It's a neat little game, and there have been instances where I've had to replay missions 3 or 4 times. It can be pretty hard. The big thing that I have run into that I don't want to say is a downfall to the game. It's not. It's just I'm not used to having to deal with it. Is there are instances where your hand of cards, the thing that makes your guys go, will have like nothing useful in it, and you can trade them in, you can discard them and get new cards, but it kind of wastes your turn. And what I've noticed is that you need to do something towards the mission in just about every turn, or something is going to pop out of the woods and kill you. So I'm still having fun with that. And also, while I was flipping around, I saw a Power Rangers Battle for the Grid or whatever. Not the board game, not the deck building game, but the video game. It's basically like a Street Fighter combat game set in the Shattered Grid universe of Power Rangers, where Lord Draken's running around doing, Lord Draken things, trying to, win the multiverse. And you play. I'm only in the story mode because that game, I consider myself kind of skilled at video games. I do a lot of video game playing, especially fighting games. I do a lot of fighting game playing. This is hard. I had it set on normal, and I barely got past like the first act in the story mode. I had to turn it down to easy because I just kept getting beat. It was getting frustrating. And because I want to see the end of the story, I don't mind turning it down to easy. And I'm just hoping it's not one of those games that like has different endings based off of the difficulty level. But it's fun. It's just a fun game, and playing through the story mode, it's neat because you like obviously it's got storyboards and cinematics, and it's telling you the story. But you could, in one match, fight as Jason from the Mighty Morphin team, or Cat from the Orange Ranger from SPD. You just gotta get these random characters thrown in, and then like something happens in the cinematic, and it like switches sides, where now you are playing as the bad guys in this particular story mode. It's neat. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I still haven't beat it, but it's a lot of fun. I'm having a good time. Other than that, the only other thing that I played Curse of Strahd last week, or 2 weeks ago, which was the first time in a long time that we really, honestly felt like heroes. We were, I don't know if you remember, way back when, several episodes ago, I mentioned how we had got started with Curse of Strahd, and in one of the game sessions, we got into a fight that we were not ready for, and a bunch of hags just destroyed us, and in fact actually killed one of our characters. Well, our travels took us past their home. Again, I'm not going to spoil where they're at, but our path took us past their home yet again this last session, and we've gained several levels. We've gotten all of us have gotten feats if we wanted them. A couple of us have picked up some magic items. So like we're like, there they are. We know they're in there. You want some payback? We want to get some justice for our fallen friend. And there was a little bit of hem-hawing, a little bit of, we're not sure, maybe we don't want to have a repeat of last time, and we ended up basically saying, you know what, we've got to be tough enough now. We have to be. Let's go get some vengeance for our fallen friend, and it went wonderfully. We took some licks, but it was for the first time in a while that team felt like it was, or that party felt like we were actually a machine. Like when one of the hags grabbed their flying broom and tried to leave, one of our monks that has like a water whip ability grabs the like Spider-Man grabs the broom and pulls her down. The one instance where that can't happen, our cleric dispels the flying magic on the broom, so she comes crashing to the ground. I'm the paladin, so I run forward, and they're laying there, and with advantage, I'm getting getting critical smites against fiends. 8d8 extra damage, and it felt good to finally get a win in Curse of Strahd. We've won other battles, but this one, they've all been hard, and they've all been, not so much a victory as it is a means to an end. This was, in fact, a fight we picked. We were like, no, we're going to go and get our vengeance, get our justice. We went in, we did exactly what we said we were going to do, and none of us died. We didn't have to use that much healing. It felt like vindication. And even the DM was like, good job, guys. You did a good job dealing with these guys. So that was a good time. We finished up part of the Waking Realms campaign, where I'm the cat capoeira monk. We finished up a big fight where they were attacking the queen, and apparently it's not the only place that there was fighting going on throughout the camp. So it may not have been specifically an assassination attempt. It may have just been a well-concerted attack. But that one, we did pretty well. We lost a lot of guards, but none of the actual characters or big NPCs perished. So that feels like we did a good job. And when that session ended, it sounded like we were going to be heading into enemy territory to maybe deal with the threat. I don't know. We're supposed to play that this weekend. And then the highlight of my last 2 weeks is we started, me and my close friends, several of which are my playtesters, a few of which are probably watching right now. We started our first event day in our Necromunda campaign. Yay! So for the generous viewer, a year and a half ago, who bought me the Palanite Enforcers box and the Subjugators box, and sent that to me as a gift, like all the stuff on my Amazon wish list, because I said I really liked those models. Well, they're getting put to use finally. Yay! So I got to play 2 games on that Saturday, starting out our league, our campaign. I won one and I lost one, and I could not have won or lost in a stronger way. The win was a heavy-handed, knocked out like 6 of his guys before he bottled. It was a brutal match, and I had a bunch of cool stuff happen to me after the match. My second game was pretty much the exact opposite. My guys just were on fire and running around like crazy people, and eventually everybody got knocked off the board. And in my match rolls, I had 2 guys have to sit out the next game, and one of my sergeants, one of my characters, died. And he gets replaced with a rookie. So it was a rough game. My second game was a rough game. I'm looking forward to getting a couple more games so I can get a couple more guys into my team. I'm having a good time, and there's 7 of us in the campaign. We have 2 Vansar, 1 Cawdor, who's mostly Redemptionist anyway, 1 Escher, 1 Gene Stealer Cult, 1 House Delak, and then me, the cops. So it's a good spread. It's a good variation on the different models. I'm excited. In fact, I challenged the House Delak, currently undefeated gang to play this upcoming Friday. So let's see. Hopefully it will go relatively peacefully for both of us. I know both of us are licking our wounds from our last matches, but my guys are just so much more expensive. I cannot risk getting my guys murdered. So I'll end up playing careful, and if I have to bottle, I will. But we'll see. We'll see. It'd be much nicer if I could actually chase them off the board. But yeah, so that's basically what I've been doing in a nutshell. Is getting ready for Necromunda stuff. Doing a little bit of painting on some D&D figures, and then also a couple of Necrons needed some love. A couple of Necron characters, because I realized that the tournament that I'm going to, not this weekend but next weekend, you get a bonus for having a fully painted army, and I had a couple of my characters, a couple of my new Cryptex were still unpainted, so had to get that done. And my last 5 flayed ones, which brings me up to a big pack of 20. So we'll see how they do. So obviously not this weekend, but next weekend will be the tournament. So I'll be able to tell you what's up. And if I think about it, maybe while I'm there, I'll see if I can't record a little bit on my phone or something like that. Just kind of like share with you guys cool stuff that's happening. But yeah, that's basically the week in Bryan. Work, play, sleep. Work, play, sleep. Work, play, sleep, sweat. But it did. This also has been a good week for good news. So as you know, based off of the theme of today's episode, short as it may be, is the return to conventions. So this last weekend, the one that just passed, here in Indiana, we had our first Pop Culture Con, Indie PopCon, and it seemed to be a pretty big success. They required masks in certain areas. They requested that you had your vaccination card on you. A lot of cosplayers, a lot of that stuff. One of my kiddos went with a group of their friends. It seems like the show went off without a major hitch. Social issues notwithstanding, some jerk decided that he was going to cosplay as a Nazi officer because, making people upset is fun for some people. So besides that drama, apparently the convention went off without a hitch, and that bodes well for future conventions. Now, for me personally, the next one that I'm going to isn't until September. It's Gen Con, which I still need to figure out who I'm going with and what I'm doing, and am I running games? Am I going to do panels? I don't know. I have no idea. For all I know, I might just go there and try and get some games in. Say hi to people. I really don't know what's going on for Gen Con. But then immediately following, in September, the next month, is Gamehole Con up in Madison, Wisconsin. And at Gamehole, which I am also going to, I'm going to try and run some games. I got to put my events into the system, but my goal is to hopefully run some of the games with the new Power Rangers and G.I. Joe, maybe even the Transformers system that we built. Because by that time, the core book for at least Power Rangers and probably G.I. Joe will have been out for people's consumption. So that, or hopefully, again, decisions made on a higher level than me. But I'm excited. I'm excited for to get to see people again. I'm excited to get to talk to fans face to face again. If you go to any of these conventions, try and look me up. I'll happily, talk with you and discuss game stuff, or politics or the weather. Who knows? Whatever you want to talk about. I'm excited for Gamehole Con. I'm excited for Gen Con. And I just found out that I'm working on the deposit for it right now. We'll get the actual cost of the trip itself taken care of later on. But Satine Phoenix and Jameson Stone, friends of ours in the gaming industry that live out west, They are running helping host a gamer cruise from, I believe, New York to Barbados, maybe? It's definitely New York to something. It goes down the eastern seaboard. And I think it's a 4-day cruise, 4 or 5-day cruise, but it is completely themed for role players. So there's D&D games going on. There's going to be Vampire Masquerade going on. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. And I'm hoping, if I can talk Satine into it, to maybe be able to run some stuff while we're there. But this is also, just because it is a cruise, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to play games with people that we haven't seen in years. So in some cases, we get to play with people that we maybe haven't seen ever. But that's the we are not 100% set in stone going to be able to make it. It is expensive. But Natalie and I have discussed it and figured that this may be a really cool belated honeymoon for us. We're both gamers. She's never been on a cruise. I love them. Gets me out on the ocean. I mean, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. It is expensive, and it is something that we're going to have to save and scrimp for, but totally worth it if we get a chance to make it happen. And I'm hoping, I'm asking, but I don't know whether or not they'll need it. I'm going to see whether or not they want additional people to run events or anything while we're there. Obviously, it's going to be a small, tight community, not like a giant convention. It's going to be like a tiny convention on a boat while it's in transit. I'm excited. I'm excited for conventions to come back. Now, I would be lying if I said that I was not nervous about them too. COVID is very scary. I know it mutates. I know, and there are a lot of people out there, a lot of jerks that are like, "Yeah, I'm vaccinated," that never even stepped in and got the first half. And then there are the anti-vaxxers. Why would you ever take vaccines? Oh, I don't know, because it killed polio. Just stupid things. It is a bittersweet feeling to know that the conventions that I'll be able to actually go to these conventions. I'm just hoping that it doesn't turn out to be the norm, that these conventions are all standoffish and social distanced and you wear your mask. I'm hoping that it eventually gets back to normal, because my convention life was always my convention family, that was always like my outlet when I needed a recharge of people juice, which is basically blood, but not what I'm thinking. Just that kind of emotional charge of seeing these people and getting to play with these people and show off our goods to these people and possibly sell stuff, and that's always what I thought of when thinking about conventions and whatnot. Is I want people to be safe, I want people to be happy, but I want it to feel like home again. So I don't know. Also, hoping that maybe with the advent of conventions and the return, maybe we'll start seeing some more new products coming out, because I know there are a lot of small companies that can't really afford to get the tens of thousands of copies into the hands of Alliance to be able to distribute properly at a large scale. So it's nice to see these small companies at the conventions and occasionally pick up a weird indie game or a board game or a card game that you've never seen before. I mean, there's several card games several small games in my game room that the kids love that I would have never bought if it wasn't for the fact of walking down the hallway in a convention and seeing, the pieces of the board, or seeing the art on the cards, or just talking to the person and getting that kind of that designer passion from them. I recognize it, and it's like, okay, well, that's fantastic. I want to I want to hook you guys up. I want to, help you out. And some of these games are fantastic, and the kids love them. We play it on family night. So I know that conventions can be a lot of work. I know that they always make you hurt afterwards. My legs and my knees are shot for several days of walking around on that concrete. But they're totally worth it, in my opinion. It's such a good feeling to know that they're coming back. I'm hoping that by next spring/summer, I'll be ready to do GaryCon. I've got 3 fully decked out adventures with NPCs and maps and things like that ready to go. I might even run one at GameholeCon, but I kind of want to reserve these for GaryCon because they were supposed to happen last year, but then COVID got canceled everything, and so I sort of want to. I don't want to. I don't want the people who were looking forward to those at GaryCon to hear that I ran them somewhere else and that I won't be running them at GaryCon later on. So we'll see. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm really excited about conventions coming back. I'm not doing Origins this year. That's because it's falling on a weird weekend for me. I've got stuff going on. Yeah, for me, it's going to be Gen Con, Origins. Just literally said I wasn't doing Origins. Gen Con, GameholeCon, and then, if all goes well, Satine's Fantasy Cruise in the spring. But yeah, I hope to see you guys, some of you guys there. That'd be great. In the meantime, again, I told you, I warned you this is gonna be a short episode, because I need to get out. I'm already, my hair is still not dry. I'm just gross. I need to get out into the area where the air conditioning is even trying to work. Here, it's just not. But so I need to find a way to cool off. I've said my piece. I'm excited about conventions. I'm hoping that you guys will get to come out and see, if not see me, come out and just see some cool stuff, and remind these convention throwers, the hosts of these things, that they're doing a service for our industry. They really are. They're helping players find each other. They're helping players find the games that they need to play. They're helping the companies get their games out to the clientele. And every time that we have a big convention and everything goes off well and positive and everyone leaves happy, it brings up the collective morale of just gamers and designers everywhere when things are on the up. So after this last year of just downer, cancel, digital only, let's see some up. Let's see some cool cosplays. Let's see some games being played. Let's see people, nearly in tears because they haven't seen each other for 2 years because of all the quarantines. Let's make gaming conventions cool. Let's make these into what they've always been, but let's remind everybody that it's not about the germs and it's not about the masks. And even if you are one of those people that wants to wear a mask because you're around a crowd of a lot of people and you still want to be careful, do it. And if you're one of the people who are not real big into the masks or glad that you don't have to wear them anymore because you've been double vaccinated or whatever, don't make fun of the people who do. Don't be like, oh, look at that guy, he's got a mask on. That guy may have had all of the, all the immunizations, and he's just being careful because he's got a young baby at home, or maybe he works in a nursing home and he doesn't want to risk spreading it to all of our grandmas and grandpas. Basically, just don't be a dick. Is what it comes down to. Somebody wants to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. I myself am not currently wearing masks in most places because I was double vaccinated. Everyone in my family has been double vaccinated, even our kids. So I'm considering my bubble pretty well safe. Now, if they come out tomorrow and say, hey, even you vaccinated people need to wear masks because there's this other version or this other strain of virus, I'd wear a mask because I'm not an idiot. Is really what it comes down to. But yeah, so I hate to call this episode quits because I know it's very short and a lot of people are really like, man, that's just a bunch of information, and now he's putting up links for his GoFundMe and his Amazon page, which I will. But it's basically just for my own comfort, and I know that if I sit here trying to push as just a ton of information down your throat in this heat, it's going to come out as, no pun intended, hot garbage, and I will end up probably having to re-edit a bunch of things. So I'm going to take it easy today. I'm going to stay cool until they fix my air conditioning. You guys out there, I know you've been patient. Sorry that I didn't do an episode last week, but I've just been too busy. I will be doing an episode this week, obviously, and I will be doing an episode next week. I should be back to the weekly episodes unless something gets really hectic. But other than that, I just want you guys to go out there, be safe, get vaccinated, wear a mask, wash your hands, fight the virus where it lives. But also, get out there, play some games, grab your friend, sit down, enjoy yourselves, put a smile on your face, go to your local game store and play a card game you've never played before. Whatever you need to do, go out there, make the world a little happier than when you left it, or well, that part of the world. Obviously, I'm not saying that you're leaving the world like dying. No. But leave someplace a little happier than when you left it, and more than anything else, as always, get out there and play some games. We will see you in a week, and hopefully the studio will be cooler and I'll be able to give you a full episode instead of all these little shorties. Talk to you then.